1. Introduction. RAWSEP View. The United States government was on track in the Biden administration to reduce the prices for both clean energy heat pumps and clean energy electric cars. Trump tariffs are expected to upset those plans to prevent future air pollution and prevent climate change. The United States government should, instead of certifying wood stoves as safe when they are not safe, go forward with regulations that ban wood stove use and direct government money for use of forest refuse only. For home building and furniture building. For just a few examples of use of forest products for non-burning uses, it is well known from scientific and medical research that wood burning is a substantial source of PM 2.5 emissions, yet the wood burning industry uses the scientifically debunked theory named carbon neutrality of wood burning to argue that wood burning replacing coal burning in industry, and in a trickle-down argument that wood burning should continue for home heating should continue. Presumably because it is called renewable. Wood may be renewable in the sense that a tree can be planted in the place of a cut-down burned tree, but it takes centuries or decades for the newly planted tree to attain the stature of the cut-down burned tree. During those centuries or decades, photosynthesis, which converts CO2 to oxygen and so sequesters some carbon, will not take place at the same rate as photosynthesis was performed previously, and wood burning emits both CO2 and PM 2.5, and PM 2.5 is not absorbed by trees, so PM 2.5 is not diminished by planting a tree in the place of a cut-down and burned tree. In fact, a living tree closes its pores against the presence of PM 2.5 from nearby wood burning, just as humans hold their breath in the presence of PM 2.5 from nearby wood burning. And when a tree closes its pores, the level of photosynthesis that absorbs CO2 pollution goes down. Wood burning emits 90% PM 2.5 particulate matter of 2.5 micrometer size, the perfect size to infiltrate the human lungs, setting off a cascade of human health problems and early deaths. Contrary to many beliefs, wood burning emits 2.8 times the PM 2.5 as the fossil fuel coal burning, and wood burning emits 450 times the PM 2.5 as the fossil fuel natural gas burning. Replacing coal burning with wood burning creates more air pollution in the form of CO2 and PM 2.5 than coal burning. This emission data comes from testing the cleanest burning wood stove in the United Kingdom, the Eco-Design Wood Stove, and International Convention does not count the emissions from wood burning. The emissions from wood burning are erased from all countries around the world when calculating if each country has met its climate goals. This non-counting or erasure of wood burning emissions data from climate goals does not mean wood burning emissions do not exist. RAWSEP View. Purple air. PM 2.5 monitors hanging from the eaves of the house of a near neighbor should be used to measure the level of PM 2.5 in the air hyperlocally in the yards of near neighbors of indoor residential wood burners. If PM 2.5 levels exceed World Health Organization standards of 5 micrograms per cubic meter annually, then that evidence of air pollution from wood burning should lead to the shutdown of that indoor residential wood burning appliance, one appliance at a time if necessary.
Hi, my name is Lily. Andrew gave you the intro to Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates and their concern for air pollution from indoor residential wood burning. Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates, or RAWSEP, would like every near neighbor of an indoor residential wood burner whose wood smoke enters their yards and sickens the near neighbors to have a purple air PM 2.5 monitor hanging from the eaves of their home to measure the level of PM 2.5 entering their yards. That measurement of air pollution should be used as evidence of unnecessary air pollution, and each indoor residential wood burner should be shut down based on that evidence, one indoor residential wood burner at a time if necessary. The presentation by Andrew ended at 2 minutes 5 seconds. The same presentation by Emma starts at 2 minutes 3 seconds before the end of this podcast. So I am Lily, your timekeeper, and you can start the next podcast at 2 minutes 5 seconds in if you would not like to see the presentation by Andrew a second time. This presentation by me, Lily, ends at 5 minutes in. What you will see in the main content of this RAWSEP podcast will be news about air pollution from indoor residential wood burning and how that air pollution is being combated by ordinary people just like you who are unfortunately near neighbors of indoor residential wood burners at this time. There will also be news about unnecessary and highly polluting use of wood as fuel in industrial wood burners and preventable air pollution from wood burning wildfires. There will also be news about air pollution from PM 2.5 from gas-powered cars. There will also be news about airborne diseases which are also preventable with vaccines such as COVID-19 and measles and whooping cough, to name just a few. In 2025, Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates is also concerned with combating the Trump destruction of government funding for programs which protect human health through the Department of Health and Human Services, and Trump destruction of programs which fund the science and medical research plan to protect human health from preventable illnesses. Protecting human health is a patriotic act, and our defense against enemies is weakened if we are not as healthy as we can be. Heat pump rebates are now offered by the federal government, distributed through the eligible United States, are available in 2025 and are the best, cleanest, and now cheapest alternative to indoor residential wood burning if that burning is actually done to purportedly save money. Wind and solar as sources of the electricity that powers heat pumps and electric cars is also cheaper than burning, with the adverse health effects that are caused by indoor residential wood burning also come at a cost to near neighbors, both in shortening and ending their lives and in actual hospital, clinic, and funeral costs. Instead of being compensated monetarily, near neighbors should instead be able to achieve immediate relief by stopping indoor residential wood burning in their hyper-localized neighborhoods, which relief readings from purple air PM 2.5 monitors used as evidence of air pollution will help them achieve. Welcome to news about hopeful scientific and medical achievements that will also help us achieve the goal of clean air to breathe.
Episode 57 DHWQ June 17, 2025 Canada Parksville Get the best from your heat pump this summer. 1 RAWSEP View 2 Republican MAGA Trump voter assassin of Democratic Minnesota State Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband seized evidence shows a list of other Democratic targets for assassination planned for the night of June 14, 2025 3 to 22 3 headlines Google alerts June 17, 2025 4 World 5 United States 6 California 7 Colorado 8 Florida 9 Michigan 10 Missouri 11 Nevada 12 New Mexico 13 Nevada 14 Washington 15 Wisconsin 16 Canada 16 See Canada British Columbia Parksville How to get the best from your heat pump this summer 17 Australia 18 Ireland 19 United Kingdom 20 The Netherlands 21 China 22 Japan Main content 1 RAWSEP View After collecting news stories about the unnecessary air pollution caused by wood burning for 3 years the repetitiveness of the resistance to change to clean forms of home heating the editor of RAWSEP sees repeated and repeated ad infinitum are predictable the editor of RAWSEP finds that these news stories reveal patterns so that the old tired arguments for continuing wood burning are laid bare with all their weaknesses exposed day after day week after week and year after year however just showing the stupidity and avarice selfish and harmful money hungriness behind continuing wood burning is not enough to make an obvious analogy. A stupid and avaricious money-hungry president was recently elected and the stupid and corrupt actions of the president in the case of wood burning or solid fuel burning who is giving free rein to fossil fuel companies to burn when cleaner methods are available are either not apparent enough to enough people or not explained as simply as they can be described so that enough people are educated on the harm to the finances of each poor or middle-class person in the United States which are caused by the actions of this president. A RAWSEP strategy can be built on the fact that it is generally understood that even Trump MAGA Republican voters are incentivized to protect their own economic interests even if Trump through his actions particularly through his Trump budget bill is taking from the poor and middle class to give to the already rich in America. How do the rich profit from continuing fossil fuel burning rather than using the example of home heating of using absolutely clean energy heat pumps to heat homes which are connected to an absolutely clean electric grid if it is powered by the clean energy of wind and solar with the energy stored in batteries that will make the wind and solar energy available at all times. Companies are already working on making these long-term storage batteries and wind and solar are getting cheaper by the day to the extent that using fossil fuels and wood and other forms of solid fuel burning is increasingly more expensive than wind and solar power for electric grids that could power heat pumps for home heating. 2024 was the height of innovation in home heating when heat pump rebates first became available and in 2025 heat pump rebates continue to be launched across the United States. Given the actions of the president in the last 5 months, Trump could cancel heat pump rebates at any moment because of his allegiance to fossil fuel companies and their desire to have no competition from clean energy in the same way but in a way that is harder to grasp. Wood burning is an industry and the wood burning industry is continuously lobbying to stop regulations, stop air pollution detection and stop competitors for home heating to gain a foothold with the American people, advertising that wood burning is an elite activity and building homes with fireplaces in the center of expensive homes that poor and middle class people aspire to own is part of that push to eliminate clean energy alternatives for home heating just so the wood burning industry can make a profit for their already rich executives. Half measures have always been put forward as alternatives to the logical step of stopping wood burning for home heating altogether. Using dry wood rather than wet wood and using the most efficient wood burning equipment are put forward as solutions that will keep the air clean when burning wood. However, the cleanest burning wood stove in the United Kingdom, the eco-design wood burning stove, emits at least 2.8 times the PM 2.5 as wood burning. Dry wood and efficient wood burning are ineffective options and only prolong air pollution when the truly clean alternatives such as heat pumps that work down to 40 degrees below, run on electricity and double as air conditioners are available now, often with heat pump rebates of up to $8,000 based on a sliding income scale. After 3 years there is much more to be said but enough already. The editor of RAWSEP will instead interject comments in the news stories below when the half measures which are half-baked and ineffective are again brought up by either stupid or willfully ignorant and definitely selfish money-hungry avaricious people who do not care about the harm they cause to human health of near neighbors of indoor residential wood burners. The odd thing about clinging to wood burning for home heating is that it is more expensive than clean methods of home heating, which require the elaborate logistics of buying, moving and lugging wood around, and the idea of spring cleaning came from the dirt accumulated in a home over the winter in the recent past, when there were unfortunately truly no alternatives to wood burning. Air pollution from wood burning contributed to early deaths and lowered what could have been an optimal life expectancy of humans until the fossil fuels, coal, oil and other less deadly forms of home heating came on the scene. Yes, wood burning emits 2.8 times the PM 2.5 as the fossil fuel coal burning, and wood burning emits 450 times the PM 2.5 as the cleanest burning fossil fuel. Natural gas burning. This is not a shill for the fossil fuel industry, but those statistics mean that wood burning should be tackled and eliminated before fossil fuel burning, because wood burning is more dangerous to human health. To Republican MAGA Trump voter assassin of Democratic Minnesota State Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband. Seized evidence shows a list of other Democratic targets for assassination planned for the night of June 14, 2025. Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity and relationship to Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Substack. Letters from an American. Heather Cox Richardson, June 17, 2025. To a RAWSEP View. No statement by the Trump Republican assassin has been found that clearly stated in manifesto form that Vance Bolter acted with political motivation against Democrats, although all names on his hit list were Democratic politicians. From the article, the acting United States Attorney for the District of Minnesota, Joseph H. Thompson, was newly appointed by MAGA Republican Trump only 2 weeks ago. At a news conference today, acting U.S. Attorney for the District of Minnesota, Joseph H. Thompson, who was appointed by Trump just 2 weeks ago, said that Minnesota suspect Vance Bolter went to the homes of 2 more politicians than the 2 he eventually shot along with their spouses. One was on vacation with her family, and at another home a police officer apparently scared him off. Thompson said Bolter had voluminous writings that showed he had been planning the attacks for quite some time, but U.S. Attorney Thompson added, "I have not seen anything involving some sort of political screed or manifesto that would clearly identify what motivated him. Obviously his primary motive was to go out and murder people. They were all elected officials, they were all Democrats." Bolter is facing federal charges of 2 counts of stalking, 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of firearms offenses. He is facing state charges of first-degree murder, second-degree murder and attempted murder. To be Trump Republican disinformation online about the politically motivated assassination of Democrat Melissa Hortman and her husband by a Trump MAGA Republican named Vance Bolter. MAGA loyalists have continued to radicalize in the wake of the shootings, spreading disinformation that blamed the violence on Democrats or joking about the event. Walker Orinston of the Minnesota Star-Tribune debunked the disinformation spread by MAGA loyalists, noting that Bolter was not close to Waltz, who simply okayed his reappointment to a bipartisan board that then Governor Mark Dayton had put him on in 2016. According to his roommate, Bolter was a strong supporter of Trump. To see Trump Republican disinformation online about the politically motivated assassination of Democrat Melissa Hortman and her husband is being led by a United States Senator named Mike Lee of Utah. 2 reporters from the Salt Lake Tribune called out Senator Mike Lee RUT for his behavior in the aftermath of the shootings. Lee joked about the killings and falsely blamed the violence on his political opponents, tying the shooting to Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. Senator Amy Klobuchar DMN responded, "This was an incredible woman. This is not a laughing matter, and certainly what we are seeing is an increase in violence, and this evil man who did this is not a joke." Of the behavior of Senator Mike Lee of Utah, influencer George Takei wrote, "Utah voters, are these really your values? Mike Lee is the best you can do?" After Lee pinned one of his disturbing tweets to the top of his social media timeline, Tim Miller of The Bulwark wrote, "This is less of a political matter than a sign of deep mental illness." 2D as of June 16, 2025, 2 days after the assassination, MAGA Republican Trump has not called Democratic Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. As of this afternoon, Trump had not called Walz, calling him a terrible governor and a grossly incompetent person. to a Trump incompetence at G7 meeting in Canada. Trump drew criticism of his own incompetence today at the meeting of the Group of Seven G7 in Kananaskis, Alberta in Canada. The G7 is a forum of democracies with advanced economies that includes Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the United Kingdom and the United States, as well as the European Union. During the G7 meetings today, Trump seemed to think the United Kingdom and the European Union were the same thing. Trump also parroted Russian talking points, telling reporters the G7 used to be the G8. Barack Obama and a person named Trudeau did not want to have Russia in, and I would say that that was a mistake, because I think you would not have a war right now if you had Russia in, and you would not have a war right now if Trump were president 4 years ago. In fact, the members of the G7 kicked Russia out of the forum after Russian President Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine in 2014, and former Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau did not take office until 2015. On Friday, observers from abroad had noticed how rarely Trump appears in public and how often he falls asleep when he does, prompting speculation that he is not physically able to do the work of the presidency. Blunnell suggested the Trump team would look for a way to get the president out of the G7 early to avoid exposure. It was Trump who pulled out of the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action JCPOA, the Iran nuclear deal that limited the Iran nuclear program. Trump posted everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran. More than 9 million people live in Tehran, with more than 16 million in the metropolitan area. 2F Trump left the G7 meeting in Canada a day early after giving the excuse of dealing with the Middle East situation. The Trump team announced the situation in the Middle East required the president to leave the G7 a day early. It is unclear what the Trump abrupt departure from the G7 indicates for events in the Middle East and U.S. involvement in them being sidelined in foreign affairs at the same time as the American people turned out in huge numbers to protest his administration, and as his military parade fizzled, shows Trump has less power than he tries to project. 2G Stephen Miller appears to be setting Trump policy rather than the president setting policy. How decisions are being made in the administration is unclear, notably after Trump wrote last Thursday that changes are coming in deportation orders because it made no sense to deport workers who had been here for a long time and were vital to farms, hotels and restaurants. The Department of Homeland Security DHS today reversed that decision in a call this morning. Officials from Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE told agents to continue immigration raids at the businesses Trump had said he was going to protect. It seems as if White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller is determining White House policies if Trump is leaving the work of the presidency to others. 2H The Trump family is using the prestige of the presidency to make money in honor of the 10th anniversary of the Trump trip down the Trump Tower escalator into presidential politics. The Trump Organization has launched a mobile phone service. The plan is a licensing deal with a disclaimer specifying that the service simply uses the Trump name after contracting with another provider. The announcement claims that new Made in America gold phones will be available in September, but the photoshopped image of the phone and the wonky specs on it, as well as the impossible promise to make them in America within 3 months, mean the phone looks both bad and impossible. The phone too is simply branded with the Trump name. The family business will not design or manufacture it. The Trump Organization only applied for the trademarks for it last Thursday. 3 headlines. Google alerts June 17, 2025 for world wood burning. PM 2.5 in health threat. Air pollution map reveals health threats from tiny particles. Earth.com. Historically, research has focused on PM 2.5 particles smaller than 2.5 microns. Now scientists have turned to an even finer pollutant, PM 1.5. United States Intertech unveils geothermal heat pump for residential use. PV Magazine. Intertech unveils geothermal heat pump for residential use. The US-based heating specialist said its new variable speed water-to-water system has a 5B. United States wood burning. PM 2.5 and elevation fire smoke elevated the carbonaceous PM 2.5 concentration and mortality burden in the ACS publications. American Chemical Society. Despite emerging evidence on the health impacts of fine particulate matter PM 2.5 from wildland fire smoke, the specific effects of PM 2.5 composition 5C. United States hard facts about how homes burn. How to save your house and your life. United States Forest Service. Embers may be burning leaves, twigs, pine needles or cones, or even wood shakes. If they land on anything flammable, chances are they will start a fire. 5D. United States RAWSEP View. Bad news that this article does not just say do not burn wood to avoid air pollution from the headline. Hosting a fire pit this summer. Here is how to keep it safe and neighborly. Better Homes and Gardens. The recommended moisture content for a wood-burning fire is about 20%. Never burn wood during air quality alert days. Air pollution is already high. 5 United States wood-burning PM 2.5 and health threat. Tiny and toxic. Researchers track smaller air pollution particles across U.S. skies. Newswise scientists have tracked the scope of PM 2.5 pollution over decades. PM 2.5 is a size of particulate matter that is less than 2.5 microns in 6A California. Los Angeles. In a test, one home burns, the other is unscathed. A lesson for fireproofing. LA. Los Angeles Times. 5 minutes in the shrubs crackled as a stack of firewood on the side of the home. A common storage place for properties with wood burning. 4 industrial fans provided the wind, spreading the fire across dry wood mulch onto small shrubs lining the exterior of the house. Wood burning. 6B California. In California, an expansion by a biomass company raises fears of more fires. Grist.org. Facilities that make wood pellets have a track record of catching on fire, so why are there plans to build several near the tinderbox of Yosemite? 6C California. Stage 1 fire restrictions set to begin on June 11. Sequoia and Kings Canyon National Parks. National Park Service. Sequoia and Kings Canyon National Parks will enter Stage 1 fire restrictions, which prohibit wood and charcoal fires, including wood-burning stoves at California. Stage 1 fire restrictions set to begin on June 11. Sequoia and Kings Canyon National Park Service wood and charcoal fires, including wood-burning stoves, at 6 a.m. on June 11. The fire restrictions target campground and picnic areas at 6D California. RAWSEP View. Bad news in Southern California from the headline: SoCal rejects plan to phase down new gas furnaces and water heaters. Canary Media. Person in t-shirt and baseball cap works on a heat pump unit on a proposed rules in Southern California would have prompted manufacturers to 6C California. Wood pellet mills are prone to catching fire. Why build them in California? Wired. Facilities that make wood pellets have a track record of catching alight, yet there are plans to build several near the tinderbox forests of Yosemite. 7 Colorado. RAWSEP View. Bad news Colorado, not just for the raccoons but for the new neighbors of in-or residential wood burners. From the headline: Raccoon family saved from wood burning stove. YouTube. The Colorado Jefferson County Office of the Sheriff released footage showing officers saving a family of adorable raccoons from a wood-burning 8 Florida West Orange heat pump rebate. Duke Energy expands rebate program. West Orange Times and Observer. Orange Observer rebate duct test and repair up to $450 back. Instant rebate heat pump hybrid water heater up to $800 back. New rebate for a manufacturer. Duke Energy expands home improvement rebate program to help Florida customers save. The Apopka voice duct test and repair up to $450 back. Instant rebate for manufactured homes. And 9A Michigan. Grand Rapids wildfire smoke brings cooler than normal. Start to June. YouTube. Wildfire smoke brings cooler than normal start to June with TV8. Grand Rapids, Michigan. Temperatures have been taking a dip since wildfire smoke initially moved into West Michigan nearly 2 weeks ago. On 9B Michigan. South Haven, Allegan County. RAWSEP View. The air pollution from in-or residential wood burning or outdoor residential wood burning from glamping should be what a new ordinance should cover. From the headline: Noise from glamping site near South Haven sparks ordinance review. Woodf.com. Smoke brings cooler than normal start to 5 days ago. A budding resort outside of South Haven looks to bring a new 10A Missouri Grivoil. Lori swears in officer adds burn ban ordinance. The Lake Sun. Lori swears in officer adds burn ban ordinance. Posted Monday, June 16, 2025, 9:51 a.m. Vickywood. A special meeting was held on June 10 at 5:30 p.m. 10B Missouri. St. Louis. Wood burning PM 2.5 and health threat. Tiny and toxic. Researchers track smaller air pollution particles across U.S. skies. Washington University and St. Louis. Scientists have tracked the scope of PM 2.5 pollution over decades. PM 2.5 is a size of particulate matter that is less than 2.5 microns in diameter. FIS.org. 11 Nevada Sparks woodpile fire causes damage to Sparks home. MSN Colo update on June 3. The Sparks Fire Department is releasing new information on a woodpile fire that broke out Monday. 20 acres of fire burning. 12 New Mexico. Bernalillo health alert issued for smoke and dust in Bernalillo County on Monday, KRQE. A health alert has been issued for smoke and dust in Bernalillo County. 13A Oregon Heat Pump Rebate. Oregon Department of Energy seeking contractors for heat pump program. Kobe TV NBC 5 Cody TV NBC 2 eligible contractors can receive up to $2,000 in rebates for installing heat pumps in owner-occupied homes. Rental and homes under construction. Oregon Portland is offering another 10,000 free air conditioners to boost climate resilience. OPB heat pumps either by offering rebates or getting them for free. RAWSEP View. Bad news about money, but the popularity of the programs has caused them to run out of funding. RAWSEP View. Climate change amelioration with heat pumps, as well as immediately lower electricity costs and ending air pollution endangering the health and lives of near neighbors of in or residential wood burners. 13B Oregon Portland firefighters tackle blaze at wood recycling facility. KGW. The engine officer took command of the incident and reported a large pile of pallets and wood debris with smoke throughout the pile. Portland. 14A Washington Bellingham heat pump rebate. HVAC installers report surge in demand following promising rebate system. The cool down in Washington. For example, customers may be eligible for rebates of $1,500 to $2,400 on heat pumps, and incentives are available to low and moderate Washington Bellingham HVAC installers report surge in demand following promising rebate system. MSN homeowners are seeking more efficient heating solutions. Philip Feller Heating and Air Conditioning said installing a heat pump system. Not 14B Washington King County wood smoke PM 2.5 and N95 masks recommended 3 steps to stay safe from wildfire smoke. Public Health Insider. Because wood smoke particles are so tiny, KN95 masks may not offer the same level of protection as an N95, while cloth masks do not provide much. 14Z Washington Seattle Heating and Cooling a home with the latest heat pump technology. The Seattle Times Heat Pumps 101. Learn how these devices heat and cool homes so efficiently. Thoughtfully designed spaces at the Daikin Seattle Experience Center. Invite 15 Wisconsin Green Bay Canadian Wildfire Smoke Affects Wisconsin as Air Quality Advisory issued until June 12. Green Bay Press Gazette. What does the Air Quality Index say for cities across Wisconsin? As of 8 p.m. June 11th, here are air quality index readings in Wisconsin. 16A Canada Alberta Province. Smoke blankets Alberta as fight against western wildfires continues. CBC News. Edmontonians woke up to worsening air quality. The distinct smell of burning wood and morning skies cloaked in an orange haze environment. Canada. 16B Canada British Columbia. The synergistic effects of PM 2.5 and high temperature on community mortality in British Columbia. Nature exposure to fine particulate matter. PM 2.5 a primary component of wildfire smoke and exposure to high temperatures both independently increase. 16C Canada British Columbia Parksville. How to get the best from your heat pump this summer and avoid common pitfalls. Parksville Qualicum Beach News. Avoid summer heat struggles. The team at Pacific Rim Heat Pumps recommends early cooling mode, steady temps and monthly filter checks for top. 16D Canada Prince Edward Island Province Pay adjusts net zero and efficiency pay rebates. Retail Council of Canada. The pay government is adjusting its rebate programs that reduce RAWSEP View. Bad news about reduction in incentives from the headline heat pump rebates and the electric vehicle incentive rebates will be reduced. Pay pauses intake for heat pump program changes. Rebate structure hack. Magazine Pay has paused intake for its oil to heat pump affordability and net zero free programs due to high demand, along with lowering the rebate. 17A Australia Victoria. RAWSEP View. Good news Australia. From the headline state dangles extra $400 discount for heat pump hot water systems made in Australia. One step off the grid. The Victorian government will provide an extra $400 rebate to households seeking to upgrade their hot water system to an electric heat pump. Australia Victoria raises heat pump rebate to boost local manufacturing eco-generation. From July 1, 2025, households that opt for an eligible locally manufactured system will receive a $1,400 rebate, up $400 from the standard $1,000. 17B Australia Victoria Tachura wood heater fire scare for Tachura family. CFA News and Media. A wood heater fire that tore through the home of a Tachura family has Fire Services of Victoria calling for vigilance when warming homes. This 18 Ireland and the United States controlled company Fire and Safety Journal. America's Johnson Controls has spotlighted its commercial heat pumps for delivering competitive advantage to customers and partners across all industries. Johnson Controls heat pumps boosting customer customer success by driving down costs and carbon. PR Newswire. Johnson Controls. In 2024, Johnson Controls heat pumps cut annual heating costs of customers 53% while reducing emissions by 60%. Milwaukee, June 10, 2025. PR Newswire. 19. A United Kingdom. Lancashire. What you can do if neighbor has a wood burner as thousands complain. Links Live. New data shows the places where most people complain about neighbors having log burning stoves and bonfires. 19b United Kingdom. Leicester. What you can do if neighbor has a wood burner as thousands complain. Leicestershire. Live Leicester. Mercury. A log burning wood fire. Leicestershire. Live logo. WhatsApp community. 20. The Netherlands heat pump financially attractive for 90% of single-family homes. Do you know households and single-family homes save more money after installing a hybrid or fully electric heat pump? 21. A China future health burden and economic costs associated with ambient PM 2.5 pollution in China. Science Direct.com. PM 2.5 attributable deaths will increase till 2040 with only clean air and carbon peak policy under zero carbon scenario incorporating the ambitious 21b China wood burning PM 2.5 and acceleration. Sun 2 promotes induced epithelial mesenchymal transition through methylating chitинase 3 like 1 mRNA. Science Direct.com. Sun 2 expression is upregulated in PM 2.5 treated pulmonary tissues and cells, and Sun 2 mediated Chi3L1 mRNA methylation accelerates PM 2.5 induced TMT21C China wood burning PM 2.5 and activation. PM 2.5 promotes platelet activation and thrombosis via RAWSEP pathway mediated. ScienceDirect.com. Fine particulate matter PM 2.5 exposure increased platelet reactivity and promoted thrombus formation, which was accompanied by mitochondrial 22. A Japan company Daikin adds high temperature heat pump cooling post. The Daikin EWWHVZ water cooled inverter chiller and heat pump offers a cooling and heating capacity ranging from 400 kilowatts to 1900 kilowatts by separating 22b. Japan company. Why do heat pumps have a bad rap? Lies Legal Planet. Our ancient wall furnaces are red tagged for leaks. Performing a home energy audit. Our choice to install a Fujitsu heat pump air handler and a Heat 22C. Japan wood burning PM 2.5 and health threat patterns discovery dataset for particulate matter PM 2.5 pollution trends in Japan. Nature. Air pollution is a leading risk factor for mortality in Japan despite improvements in air quality. Particulate matter 2.5 PM 2.5 remains a risk factor.
Cat's corner strategy with Tiger and Leone. Saying the quiet part out loud. Roar. Hi, I am Tiger. Our human asked us to get up from our naps and start Cat's corner strategy with Tiger and Leone. She gave us a list of internet allies which we will post for her here.
Hi, I am Leone. It is better for your mental fitness to go to these websites than to go to bro sites for advice. Substack letters from an American Heather Cox Richardson. Substack your local epidemiologist. The Midas Touch. The Guardian. The New York Times.
One introduction. RAWSEP View. The United States government was on track in the Biden administration to reduce the prices for both clean energy heat pumps and clean energy electric cars. Trump tariffs are expected to upset those plans to prevent future air pollution and prevent climate change. The United States government should, instead of certifying wood stoves as safe when they are not safe, go forward with regulations that ban wood stove use and direct government money for use of forest refuse only for home building and furniture building. For just a few examples of use of forest products for non-burning uses, it is well known from scientific and medical research that wood burning is a substantial source of PM 2.5 emissions. Yet the wood burning industry uses the scientifically debunked theory named carbon neutrality of wood burning to argue that wood burning replacing coal burning in industry, and in a trickle-down argument that wood burning should continue for home heating should continue. Presumably because it is called renewable, wood may be renewable in the sense that a tree can be planted in the place of a cut-down burned tree. But it takes centuries or decades for the newly planted tree to attain the stature of the cut-down burned tree. During those centuries or decades, photosynthesis, which converts CO2 to oxygen, and so sequesters some carbon, will not take place at the same rate as photosynthesis was performed previously, and wood burning emits both CO2 and PM 2.5, and PM 2.5 is not absorbed by trees, so PM 2.5 is not diminished by planting a tree in the place of a cut-down and burned tree. In fact, a living tree closes its pores against the presence of PM 2.5 from nearby wood burning, just as humans hold their breath in the presence of PM 2.5 from nearby wood burning. And when a tree closes its pores, the level of photosynthesis that absorbs CO2 pollution goes down. Wood burning emits 90% PM2.5 particulate matter of 2.5 micrometer size, the perfect size to infiltrate the human lungs, setting off a cascade of human health problems and early deaths. Contrary to many beliefs, wood burning emits 2.8 times the PM2.5 as the fossil fuel coal burning, and wood burning emits 450 times the PM2.5 as the fossil fuel natural gas burning. Replacing coal burning with wood burning creates more air pollution in the form of CO2 and PM2.5 than coal burning. This emission data comes from testing the cleanest burning wood stove in the United Kingdom, the Eco-Design Wood Stove. International Convention does not count the emissions from wood burning. The emissions from wood burning are erased from all countries around the world when calculating if each country has met its climate goals. This non-counting or erasure of wood burning emissions data from climate goals does not mean wood burning emissions do not exist. RAWSEP View purple air PM2.5 monitors hanging from the eaves of the house of a near neighbor should be used to measure the level of PM2.5 in the air hyperlocally in the yards of near neighbors of indoor residential wood burners. If PM2.5 levels exceed World Health Organization standards of 5 micrograms per cubic meter annually, then that evidence of air pollution from wood burning should lead to the shutdown of that indoor residential wood burning appliance, one appliance at a time if necessary.